During the pandemic, most people faced strict travel bans, canceled flights, and quarantine rules. Borders were closed, and many were stuck at home. However, the ultra-rich found ways to travel freely. With money and special privileges, they could move across the world, while ordinary people could not. Here's how they did it, and why this shows the growing gap between the rich and everyone else. 1. Private jets. When commercial flights were halted, private jets became the preferred choice for the wealthy. In 2021, private jet travel in Europe surged by 40%. Unlike commercial flights, private jets bypassed crowded airports and strict travel rules. Some countries banned U.S. travelers, but private jet owners found alternative routes, flying to nations with fewer restrictions before continuing by land or air. A private jet from New York to the Caribbean cost about $20,000. An affordable luxury for billionaires seeking an exclusive escape. 2. Buying passports. Instead of waiting for visas, the rich simply bought new citizenships. Many countries, such as Malta, Cyprus, and St. Kitts and Nevis, offered citizenship by investment. This meant that by investing between $100,000 and $2.5 million, someone could get a second passport. During the pandemic, these programs became a lifesaver for wealthy travelers. A Russian billionaire with a Maltese passport or a Chinese businessman with St. Kitts citizenship could enter places that were closed to others. Although some European countries have since stopped these programs, similar options still exist in the Caribbean and Turkey. In Turkey, buying property worth $400,000 can grant residency almost instantly. 3. Luxury quarantine. During quarantine, the rich had a far better experience than most. In Australia, they isolated in luxury homes instead of government-run hotels. Dubai offered 5-star stays with personal butlers, while Thailand allowed VIPs to quarantine in Phuket villas with private pools. Wealth made following the rules much more comfortable for those who could afford it. 4. Travel concierge services. The ultra-rich don't travel alone. They have teams of experts who handle everything for them. Special travel firms, such as Knightsbridge Circle and Velocity Black, charge up to $250,000 per year to assist wealthy clients. These companies help their clients bypass restrictions by securing last-minute visas, finding legal loopholes, and negotiating with governments. When the U.S. banned travelers from Europe in 2020, these firms found a solution. Many clients were rerouted through Mexico or Canada, which had more flexible entry rules. Others got special permits for essential business or medical needs. One travel consultant even said, "Where there's a rule, there's a way around it, if you have the money." 5. Yachts. During the pandemic, the ultra-rich turned to super yachts as floating escapes from restrictions. Bookings surged in 2020 as they fled COVID-19 hotspots, avoiding airport and public services. Some used yachts as quarantine zones, moving between countries once restrictions eased, relying on private crews and medical staff for a completely self-sufficient lifestyle at sea. 6. Diplomatic privileges. Money and political influence often go together. Some billionaires obtained diplomatic passports, which gave them immunity and special travel access. Saudi royals, for example, entered Australia using diplomatic visas despite strict border controls. Others used their connections with government officials to get fast-tracked travel permits. In extreme cases, private jets were even registered as state aircraft to avoid scrutiny from immigration authorities. Unfair advantage. Loopholes did not go unnoticed. Public health experts warned that letting wealthy travelers bypass restrictions made it harder to control the pandemic. Dr. Julia Smith, a global health researcher, said, "Every time a rich traveler skips the rules, they increase the risk of spreading new variants." Governments face pressure to close loopholes. The European Union, EU, suspended some golden passport programs in 2022, but enforcement remains weak. Critics argue these special privileges highlight how unfair the system is. Economist Gabriel Zucman pointed out, "The pandemic didn't create inequality, it exposed it." During COVID-19, billionaires became $4 trillion richer, while millions of workers lost their jobs and were stuck at home. In conclusion, the ultra-rich bypassing travel bans shows how wealth grants privilege. While ordinary people complied, the elite exploited loopholes. This ongoing divide exposes systemic inequality as governments balance public health and personal freedoms. Loved this video? Share and subscribe for more travel content. Thanks!